Oedipus the King, page 1485. We just finished the scene where Iocasta has come out on the stage and told Oedipus and Creon to quit their fighting, get back into the castle. You cannot be fighting in front of the general public. They can't see that right now. They need to be confident that you're going to help them, not worry that you guys are fighting. The chorus comes on the stage right now. Remember, the chorus represents the general public, what the people are thinking, what the people are feeling. Consent, with will in mind, my king, I beg of you. What do you wish me to surrender? Show deference to him who was not feeble in time past and is now great in the power of his oath, meaning Tiresias. Show respect, show deference to Tiresias. Do you know what you're asking? Yes. Well, tell me then. Never to cast into dishonored guilt with an unproved assumption a kinsman who has bound himself by curse. Well, now you must understand. When you ask this, you ask my death or banishment from the land. So Oedipus is saying, if I respect Tiresias, if I allow him to say what he is saying, then you're forcing me to say that I'm the accursed polluter and that I need to be exiled. I can't do that. Chorus, no. By the God who is the foremost of all gods, the sun. No, godless, friendless. Whatever death is worst of all, let that be my destruction, if this thought ever moved me. But my ill-fated soul, this dying land wears out. The more, if to these older troubles she adds new troubles from the two of you. Then let him go, though it must mean my death. Right? Let Tiresias go, even though it means I'm banished, exiled. Oh, or else disgrace and exile from the land. My pity is moved by your words. Chorus. Wherever he go, my pity is moved by your words, not by his. He'll only have my hate wherever he goes. You're sullen as you yield. You'll be depressed when you've passed through this anger. Natures like yours are hardest on themselves, and that's as it should be. Here's a reference to hamartia, right? Your anger will get back to you. Then won't you go and let me be? I'll go. Though you're unreasonable, they know I'm righteous. Exit Creon. Why are you waiting, lady? Conduct him back into the palace. I will. When I have heard what chanced. What happened, huh? First, I want to know what's going on. Just conjectures. Words alone. Nothing based on thought. But even an injustice can devour a man. Did the words come from both sides, meaning Oedipus and Creon? Were they both guilty? Yes. What was said? Well, to me it seems enough. Enough! The land already troubled, that this should rest where it has stopped. See what you've come to in your honest thought, in seeking to relax and blunt my heart. Now we're to the chorus, antistrophe. I have not said this only once, my lord, that I had lost my sanity without a path in thinking. Be sure this would be clear if I put you away, who, when my cherished land wandered crazed with suffering, brought her back on course. Now, too, be a lucky helmsman. Helmsman means leader. So the chorus, the townspeople, the general thought is, Oedipus, we need you to lead us. Be our helmsman right now. We don't need you fighting with Creon. Please, for the God's sake, Lord, meaning Oedipus, explain to me the reason why you have conceived this wrath. Why are you so angry? I honor you, Iocasta, not them, and I'll explain to you how Creon has conspired against me. All right, if that will explain how the quarrel started. Well, he says I am the murderer of Laos. Did he claim knowledge, or that someone just told him? Here's what he did. He sent that vicious seer, Tiresias, so he could keep his own mouth innocent. Then, absolve yourself of what he charges. Listen to this, and you'll agree. No mortal is ever given skill in prophecy. I'll prove this quickly with one incident. It was foretold to Laos. I shall not say by Phoebus Apollo himself, but by his ministers, that when his fate arrived, he would be killed by a son who would be born to him and me. Right, so Iocasta here is talking about that old curse that Apollo once said to Laos that he'd be killed by his son that I bore. And yet, so it is told, foreign robbers murdered Laos at a place where 3 roads meet. And as for the child I bore him, not 3 days passed before he yoked the ball joints of that child's feet, then cast it by other hands on a trackless mountain. That time Apollo did not make our child a patricide. Patricide means you are murdering your parents, right? So Apollo's oracle didn't come true because our son did not murder him. Apollo did not make our child a patricide or bring about what Laos feared, that he be killed by his own son. That's how prophetic words determined things. So forget them. The things a God must track, he will himself painlessly reveal. Iocasta's speech here is important. She's giving reason why you should not believe in prophecy, you should not believe in fate or any of these things. And she tells a story. Look what happened to me. It was said that Oedipus, our son, would kill him. Didn't happen. According to Iocasta, didn't happen. Of course, dramatic irony. We know that that's exactly what happened. But Iocasta thinks that's not what happened. So she says, don't mind what Tiresias says. It's not true. It doesn't work that way. Here's Oedipus's response. Just now, as I was listening to you, lady, what a profound distraction seized my mind. What made you turn around so anxiously? I thought you said that Laos was attacked and butchered at a place where 3 roads meet. That is the story, and it is told so still. Where is the place where this was done to him? Well, the land's called Phocis, where a 2-forked road comes in from Delphi and from Dalia. And how much time has passed since these events, right? Since the king was killed at this place where 3 roads meet, how long ago was that? Just prior to your presentation here as king, this news was published to the city. O Zeus, what have you willed me to do? Agnagnerus here, realization. Oedipus is realizing something. Oedipus, what makes your heart so heavy? No, tell me first of Laos's appearance. What peak of youthful vigor he had reached. How old was King Laos when he was killed? Oh, he was a tall man, showing his first growth of white. He had a figure not unlike your own. Dun, dun, dun. Alas, it seems that in my ignorance, I laid those fearful curses on myself. He's saying, oh my gosh, it was me. I did kill him. Agnagnerus, realization, light bulb goes on. What is it, Lord? I flinched to see your face. I'm dreadfully afraid the prophet sees. But I'll know better with one more detail. I'm frightened too, but ask, I'll answer you. Was his retinue small? Or did he travel with a great troop, as would befit a prince? Was King Laos traveling with a whole bunch of people, huh? Well, no, there was just 5 in all. 1 herald. There was a carriage too, bearing King Laos. Alas, now I see it. There's that word again, see. Twice, that's where it's been here. But who was it, lady? Who told you what you know about this? A servant, who alone was saved unharmed. By chance, could he be now in the palace? Is he still a servant here? No, he is not. When he returned and saw you had the power of the murdered Laos, he touched my hand and begged me formally to send him to the fields and to the pastures, so he'd be out of sight. There's that word again. Far from the city. I did. Although a slave, he well deserved to win this favor, and indeed far more. I set him free. The one servant who saw what happened fled. Let's have him called back in immediately. This is an important move from Oedipus. He wouldn't have to do this. He wouldn't have to say, go get him. He could just say, oh shoot, I guess he's not here anymore. I guess we'll never know, and not find out the truth. That's not the kind of man Oedipus is. He's determined to see this thing through and find out the truth, even if it hurts him. Let's have him called back in immediately. That can be done, but why do you desire it? I fear, lady, I've already said too much. That's why I wish to see him now. Well, then he shall come. But it is right somehow that I, too, Lord, should know what troubles you. I've gone so deep into the things I feared that I'll tell you everything. Who has a right greater than yours while I cross through this chance? Polybus of Corinth was my father. My mother was the Dorian Merope. I was first citizen, meaning I was heir to the throne. Until this chance attacked me, striking enough to be sure, but not worth all the gravity I gave it. And it was this. At a feast once, a man who'd drunk too much denied, at the wine, that I was my father's son. Here Oedipus is talking about his adopted father. He's talking about Polybus. So at a party once when I was a kid, some drunk guy told me that you're not actually Polybus's son. I was depressed, and all that day I barely held it in. The next day I put the question to my mother and my father, his adoptive mother and father, but he doesn't know that they are his adoptive mother and father. They were enraged at the man who let this fiction fly at me, and I was much cheered by them. And yet it kept grinding into me. His words kept coming back. Without my mother's or my father's knowledge, I went to Pytho, Apollo, the oracle. But Phoebus sent me away, dishonoring my demand. Apollo wouldn't tell me anything about who my parents were. Instead, other wretched horrors he flashed forth in speech. He said that I would be my mother's lover, show offspring to mankind they could not look at, meaning have children with my mother, and be his murderer whose seed I am, meaning murder my father. When I heard this, and ever since, I gauged the way to Corinth by the stars alone, running to a place where I would never see the disgrace and the oracle's words come true. Right? I ran away from my mom and dad, is what Oedipus is saying. Of course, dramatic irony, we know that they're not actually your mom and dad that you ran away from. But I soon came to the exact location where, as you tell of it, the king was killed. Lady, here is the truth. As I went on, when I was just approaching those 3 roads, a herald and a man like him you spoke of came on, riding a carriage drawn by colts. Both the man out front and the old man himself, meaning King Laos, tried violently to force me off the road. The driver, when he tried to push me off, I struck in anger. The old man saw this, meaning King Laos, watched me approach, then leaned out and lunged down with twin prongs at the middle of my head. Well, he got more than he gave. Abruptly, struck once by the staff in this my hand, he tumbled out, head first, from the middle of the carriage, and then I killed them all. But if there is a kinship, meaning a relationship, between Laos and this stranger, meaning if the stranger that I killed is King Laos, if there's a relationship between the guy that I thought was a stranger who I killed and King Laos, if there is a kinship between Laos and this stranger, who is more wretched than the man you see? Who was there born more hated by the gods? To be clear, you guys, at this point, Oedipus still has no idea that King Laos is his father. All he has realized right now is, oh my gosh, it's me. I'm the one who killed the king, but has no idea that the king is his father. He still thinks Polybus and Meriope over there in Corinth are his parents. Who was born more hated by the gods? For neither citizen nor foreigner may take me in his home or speak to me, right? Because he's banished. No, they must drive me off. And it is I who have pronounced these curses on myself. I stain the dead man's bed with these my hands by which he died. Really intimate here. The hands that were used to kill him are also the hands that are being used to touch his wife in bed. Of course, Oedipus still has no idea that these people are his parents, right? He still just thinks, I killed the king. Is not my nature vile, unclean? If I am banished, and even in exile, I may not see my own parents or set foot in my homeland. I can't go home, right? I can't go back to Corinth because that curse, I'm gonna go kill my parent, my dad, marry my mom, so I can't go there, but I can't stay here either. I may not see my own parents or set foot in my homeland, or else be yoked in marriage to my mother and kill my father, Polybus, who raised me and gave me birth. If someone judged a cruel divinity did this to me, would he not speak the truth? You pure and awful gods, may I not ever see that day. May I be swept away from men before I see so great and so calamitous a stain fixed on my person. Oedipus is still trying to escape his fate here. He still thinks he's in complete control and that he can escape this fate. Can't go home, not going home, so that I don't end up guilty of that fate of killing my father and marrying my mother. Dramatic irony, we readers know you're already guilty. These things seem fearful to us, Lord, and yet, until you hear from the witness, keep hope. That is the single hope that's left to me, to wait for him, that herdsman, until he comes. When he appears, what are you eager for? Just this: if his account agrees with yours, then I shall have escaped this misery. But what was it that struck you in my story? You said, He, the herdsman, the messenger, he spoke of robbers as the ones who killed him. Now, if he continues still to speak of many, then I could not have killed King Laos. One man and many men just do not jibe, right? The guy I killed, it was only me, just one guy. But if he says one belted man, one guy, the doubt is gone. The balance tips towards me. I did it. No, he told it as I told you. Be certain. He can't reject that and reverse himself. The city heard these things, not I alone. But even if he swerves from what he said, he'll never show that Laos murder, Lord, occurred just as predicted, right? He won't be able to prove it's you. Alcasta seems to be telling him, just cover this up. Don't tell anyone. He won't be able to prove anything. For Loxias expressly said, my son was doomed to kill him. The boy, poor boy, he never had a chance to cut him down, for he was cut down first, right? I killed my own child. Never again, just for some oracle, will I shoot frightened glances right and left, right? I killed my child because of an oracle. Never again will I do that, because oracles don't come true. Fate has no power. That's full of sense. Nonetheless, send a man to bring that farmhand here. Will you do it? Oedipus is still determined. I'll send one right away. But let's go in. Would I do anything against your wishes? Exit Oedipus and Iocasta through the central door into the palace.